the alien spaceship known as the Harpy 7 was hurtling across the galactic expanse, and a crucial meeting was underway on board. In the captain's chair sat a green humanoid with 5 eyes, rainbow irises, and a tail that could not possibly fit in the chair. His name was Schmaldop, and he was not just a captain, but a true expert on planetary trouble. He had more cases in his notebook than any space shipmaster in history. "Okay, colleagues," he began, pressing a button to increase the volume of his voice. "We're approaching a whole new planet. What do you say, Glitch 34? Glitch 34 was a junior navigator. He was incredibly talented at calculations, but often forgot how his own brain worked. "Well, I think we're almost at the point where nothing is certain to happen, though you don't worry. The navigation is set up correctly." Schmaldop stared at the screen. Glitch 34 began to fidget nervously in his chair. "Are you sure, Glitch? You remember when we almost hit that giant asteroid wave when you said everything was fine?" Well, yeah, but it doesn't matter, Captain. I haven't forgotten now, have I?" Glitch replied, blinking his eyes as they began to twitch slightly in different directions. At that moment, Oculo appeared, an engineer on the ship who possessed not only several dozen arms, but also the ability to sneeze such powerful jets that the ship was sometimes shaken all the way to the main control panels. "Well?" he asked. "I fixed the hyperdrive, but I think there's something wrong with you. You're discussing something too seriously." "We are discussing the planet we will be landing on, Oculo," Schmaldop replied with a confused look. Oculo started turning left and right, checking to see if his built-in antenna processor might be broken. "Ah yes, well, I fixed it. It's working, it's fine. So let's land our starship as usual." Schmaldop sighed. He remembered how once a Harpy 7 ship had landed one alien probe right on a populated area. The inhabitants of the planet all thought it was a sign that they now needed to treat their internal diseases with laser pizzas. As a result, an entire civilization started making pizzas, and all normal diseases were cured. But the aliens never realized the environmental impact of it all. "Alright, well, let's start by landing carefully." Schmaldop smirked, as if confident that things were going to go wrong. Unless, of course, they've arranged some surprises up there. When the Harpy 7 ship finally descended to the surface, it was immediately obvious from the outside that this was no ordinary planet. On the horizon, strange shiny objects resembling giant soap bubbles were floating in the air, and instead of the usual trees, huge bushes with purple hair were growing on the planet. Everything looked somehow wrong, but at the same time, absolutely beautiful. "Wow!" Glitch 34 exclaimed, getting out from his chair and stretching out his neck to see the marvelous scenery through the porthole. "There's even some air here, berry-flavored. Can you smell it?" Schmaldop, who was an expert on interstellar travel by duty, and was rarely ever impressed by anything, yawned. "Honestly, I was expecting something more extraordinary, Glitch. Berry air, though. Interesting. Berry air. I guess that's what they're all about, creating the illusion of an ordinary planet to make us think it's safe." "You always say that, Captain," Oculo remarked, wiping his many hands on the slippery panels. "And here I am, ready to eat the berries." But as Schmaldop and his crew began to make their way to the planet's surface, they realized that it wasn't that easy with the berries. The first few steps on the soft, almost woolly soil confirmed the strangeness of the planet. Several purple-haired bushes began to move. Strange creatures that looked like giant jumping ropes jumped enthusiastically from one bush to another. Is this normal?" Glitch 34 asked, who still couldn't believe that these bushes were actually jumping. "Well, if you don't mind, I'd rather not figure out what kind of plants they are," said Schmaldop, examining one of the bushes. Meanwhile, the group was already approaching the center of the field, where a strange but suddenly familiar object stood, a giant stone table with soft glowing elements. As Schmaldop got closer, the table began to move on its own. It seemed that it wasn't just an object, but an entire intelligent mechanism capable of moving. "Okay, looks like we need to talk to this table," Schmaldop said, squinting his eyes. It seems to be their way of greeting guests. "Any of you guys on standby? Glitch, are you going to take questions as always? I honestly don't really want to ask them questions about why they have such tables." Glitch, who appeared a little less confident than usual, looked nervously at the table again. "It's not a table, Captain," he said, a little nervously. "It appears to be a living thing, and it's changing its shape somehow." At this point, the table did indeed completely transform into something that resembled a giant cartoon hand, which wagged its finger in a welcoming manner, beckoning them over. "Oh, things are getting interesting," Oculo added. "Hey, buddy!" And just at that moment, several strange creatures appeared from the ground. They looked like little mushrooms with eyes on the sides and tiny wings. They looked piercingly at the aliens and seemed to decide that they had an important matter to settle. "Hello, Earthlings." "Oh, wait, you're not the Earthlings," one of the mushrooms announced. "We've been waiting for you." Everyone froze. "Wait, who was waiting for us?" Schmaldop asked, slightly taken aback by this revelation. "Well, we certainly didn't expect you to be so strange. But if you want, we'll explain everything to you. We have our own rules here, but that's okay. The main thing, do not eat our berries, or else, well, we have a problem with them here." The mushroom looked around at his fellows, adding, "This might not end well." Schmaldop and his crew exchanged perplexed glances. "Okay, so what's wrong with these berries?" Oculo finally asked, forgetting his caution. "Well, they ripen and get pretty smart," replied the mushroom with a sad expression. "If you eat them, they will control your thoughts and tell you to eat whatever you want. I mean, they're the berries." The group exchanged glances. "So what should we do?" Glitch asked. "We'll have to take part in our annual festival," answered the mushroom with a wink. "That's the only way we can survive on this planet." "You like festivals, don't you?" Schmaldop looked around at his colleagues, trying to figure out what was even going on. A festival? On such a strange planet? And why do these mushroom creatures believe they are surviving because of it? "What kind of festival?" the captain asked, shaking his head. "You want us to just show up and have fun? It doesn't look like an ordinary festival, does it?" The mushroom with ears on the top of its head answered immediately. "Oh, it's not just a festival, Captain. It's the Giant Berry Spectacular. It's our main event. It's where we, how shall I put it, unite every species on the planet. Look at this." And the mushroom pointed to the side. When everyone turned around, they saw a strange creature that looked like a huge walking carrot, with a long mustache and a scattering of miniature drums hanging from its shoulders. This creature began to dance without stopping drumming on its body. "Dancing?" Glitch 34 asked in surprise. "Why does everyone here dance?" "Oh, it's part of the culture," said the mushroom. "We dance and sing to get the berries' attention, and they respond and give us their fruit. It's a symbolic action, because berries don't just grow for nothing, they have to be summoned through dancing." Schmaldop blinked. "Wait, are you saying that these berries are some sort of, well, mind-controlling beings?" The captain was trying to figure out what was going on. "Yes, exactly," said the mushroom. "But if you don't eat the berries, you'll be happy. Just don't eat them, or chaos will ensue. Nothing good will come of it." "What happens if we don't participate in your festival?" Oculo asked, who was interested in something that probably didn't even involve berries. Mushroom looked at Oculo with a sad expression. "If you don't participate, we'll have to find other aliens to help. But we've already waited too long." You certainly don't want to be on the list of those who have become, how shall I put it, part of nature. What do you mean by part of nature? Asked Glitch 34, who could no longer take his eyes off the dancing carrot. This is our cultural aspect. The mushroom opened its arms, and at that moment the whole planet began to vibrate. We force our guests to become part of this magnificent ecological mechanism. If you learn to dance, you will be alive. If you don't learn, you will become beautiful plants that also make festival berries. All the aliens looked at each other. It seemed the choice was clear. Dance or become part of the planet's biosphere. And with berries on their heads? Easy choice. Okay, dance it out, Schmaldop said, and immediately put his paws in the air, mimicking moves he'd once seen on intergalactic talk shows. We've got a couple hours to do all this anyway. We might as well take a couple berries with us to give to our allies in case of negotiations. Maybe they'll appreciate it. Glitch 34 jumped up on the spot, clearly interested in the suggestion. We're just going to take away a couple berries? Really? Okay. Why not? It's a holiday, and the berries, as I understand it, can just be taken away. Oculo, inspired by the captain's decision, also participated. He went to the ranks of the dancing creatures and began to repeat it, seemingly having already finally decided that this strange planet had its own special charm. Suddenly, Schmaldop noticed that the mushrooms on this planet began to produce more and more strange sounds, as if they were somehow trying to create something resembling music, but very badly. From the speakers on the ship, sounds like those from the local instruments came out and began to literally resonate with the atmosphere. The impression was such that the entire group of aliens had to stop for a moment and wonder if they had stepped outside the bounds of reality. Okay, said Schmaldop, lighting the last beacon light on his suit. You and I are playing your dances, but I hope we certainly don't need to eat those berries like you have at the feast. You don't expect us to come in for that, do you? Mushroom turned around and laughed so that the whole neighborhood shook with laughter. Sure. Don't worry. We treat berries, but only the best guests. Oh, and be sure to dance, or you can really become a part of nature. Everyone has finally taken part in the very festival this planet needed. And who knows what would come out of it. But one thing was for sure, this intergalactic festival will definitely be remembered by every participant. Even if they would later remember this day as the day they almost became part of the planetary ecosystem. Now the aliens were dancing, laughing, and even began to realize at some point how important it was to be part of the space ecosystem if they were to survive and return home in one piece. Who knew that everything on this planet would turn out to be so delicious and unexpected?